Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Sidebar with Winnie and Katherine. Same podcast, different location.
Summer office.
yes, it's a nice out.
We needed some nice, like, natural light. Sometimes
we're stuck in a basement.
Yes, and being self-employed, we were just talking about how the ladies know if you're at home and you're working, you know, it's good because you can get the laundry done and get the other things, but it's easy to get distracted.
Oh my God.
So we figured a little change in locale.
I would get done if I wasn't at my house. I just have to go to
I love sometimes. I mean, you know, it depends. You know, sometimes they have court, but a lot of things too have changed. Even for me, I used to be in court so much more, but after the pandemic, even hearings that you used to, you know, you'd go to the court, and so it would be a reason to get dressed up and a reason to go to the courthouse. They don't do anything. They do everything on Zoom.
They still do stuff on Zoom in court?
For the most part, for civil stuff, which is, criminal is always usually more in person, but I do less criminal these days.
You do a lot of civil stuff.
Yeah. You know, sort of, that was always kind of my goal, was to transition away from the criminal work, after 10 years. So it's very, you know, it's a lot. It's just,
all she
with
wants
little
is that
kids.
check, guys, okay? She don't care about if you're guilty or innocent.
I like to talk about it. As my father's always like, you love the law so much that you don't want to practice it really anyway. You just want to talk about it. But I do. Because you know why? For me, being a lawyer is in part practicing the law, being in court, filing cases. I mean, I still do a lot of actual legal work, even though people probably don't think I do. But also, it's like being a lawyer is like in your mind in a way. So that's sort of the part.
It's a mindset. I'm a lawyer too sometimes.
That's right.
Okay, speaking of court, I wanted to talk to you about this because obviously you have the law mind. I have the social media, social mind. Stefon Diggs. It was in Norfolk County. Last week.
Yeah.
For
District
Court. For his alleged domestic abuse case with his live-in chef who he was having sexual relationships with. And I need to talk about this because I feel like, another L for Norfolk County. Why did we try this case? Because when I watched a lot of it, I don't know how much of it you watched.
I didn't watch it. I just watched some clips.
Okay. I watched a lot of clips. I didn't watch it as it was streaming, but I watched a lot of clips.
Okay.
And the witness, and with a lot of time with domestic violence, as you would say, it's really he said, she said.
Yes.
Right? So when you have the victim needs to be very believable. And this victim, in my eyes, was not. And I don't want to say whether or not he put any type of hands on her.
Yeah.
I can't know for sure. But what I do know is she was a horrible witness. Yeah. And she made herself look bad. She made herself look almost just like a girl that wanted to get back at him for having all these other girls he was sleeping with that weren't just her. The thing about this girl, if you watched it, she very much was the type of girl that was name dropping Cardi B.
Yeah.
She wanted to be friends. It was she was okay being the side chick to Cardi B, but when she knew he was sleeping with other women, even though we all knew he was probably sleeping with multiple women, she was not okay with that. And that's where a lot of jealousy played into part. And it became really much like, you don't, if I can't have this little thing by myself, then the whole world can know that you're a hoe. But we already knew that about him. He has 5 baby mamas.
Yeah, I know.
And I love Cardi, but she does not know how to pick them.
I have to tell you, I love her so much. Yeah. And I love that she's so authentic and she's who she is and she's not afraid of that. But sometimes that life that you grew up with just stays in you. And I'm like, girl, you could have anyone, anything, you know, you're
she's
talented,
so
your money,
she's hilarious.
She's like the full package.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, she's crass and all that kind of stuff, but that's who she is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you wasting your time with this guy who doesn't even respect you? I mean, and all this stuff, all the pictures, I remember seeing them together. I'm like, he doesn't even look like he likes her.
And funny, until this weekend for Mother's Day, she went to she went to one of his Mother's Day events because he has a it's called Dig Deeper. It's I don't know. He has a charity event for mothers or whatever. He was kissing on her, holding her hand. I've never seen him get affectionate.
What's up with it? What do you think that is?
I think they were probably on and off during this little period of time, and as soon as he was acquitted, it was okay, well, now I can get back with my man. And the thing about Cardi, I mean, we saw it with Offset. She tried until there was nothing left. She basically had their third kid while they were partially getting divorced. They're still actually technically married. Their divorce is still ongoing. Yeah, it's been a 2-3 year divorce, but she seems to be a down-ass bitch and very loyal, which is her downfall with these men. And I feel like Stefon Diggs, okay, you want to say with Offset that was your husband, you had
Right.
3 kids with him. I can kind of get that. But you guys met like a year and a half ago. You got pregnant very quickly.
Yes.
You had a baby,
Right.
and at that time he was having other children. He had a live-in chef with a BBL. Like that was like that from Atlanta. Like he never played in Atlanta. He's from like the DMV area. How does he have a private chef from Atlanta?
Right,
Like it's just the whole thing just screams like maybe it's an open relationship. Maybe Cardi knows when I'm not there, he's fucking. Like I can't be there all the time. Like she has her own career. But like the woman was okay with being the side bitch to Cardi B. But when she thought or knew that he was sleeping with other women, that it was a problem. And there was really no marks that were present when she went there 2 weeks after.
Oh yeah. So I mean so you can correct me as I go because I remember when the police report first came out and I posted about it, but that was a while ago.
Yeah.
So the allegations were what? That he like she choked him.
She choked him and he slapped.
He choked her.
He choked her and he slapped her across the face.
And it was about money?
Okay, so what really, it was about money in a sense that she thought she was owed more money. But what happened was there's this thing called Art Basel down in Miami, and it was around the bye week, so he had off, and it was around his birthday. So he has a furniture line or something, and so he was going down with the furniture line. Also, I know. Also celebrating his birthday. Cardi was going. And his personal assistant, who's also a woman, who she alleged they were sleeping together. The victim said that they were sleeping together.
Okay.
So basically, it seemed that he couldn't have too many of his bitches in one area. So she thought she was going. She thought she was going to Art Basel, and he said, "Oh no, I don't need you to come. Like you don't have to come." And she's like, "What?" And she's like, "Well, Cardi and I were having matching outfits. Like why?"
Did she say that on the stand?
Yes. And she's like, he's in a very public relationship with Cardi B. I didn't want people to know we were sleeping together. Yeah. But you're texting Cardi about having matching outfits while you're fucking her man. Mm-hmm. Like let's be so for real. Like it was like so cringe the whole time. So basically, he's like, no, I don't need you. AKA, I'm not going to be there. You don't need to work that week. I'm not here. Yeah. Right. So like she was saying like, you owe me money for the week I didn't work, and he was like, well, I said I didn't need your services, and then like she was getting too messy, and he basically said like he fired her. Like he was like, thank you for your time. Like I'm good on you. I don't need this type of thing. And it was like a really like kind of like informal way of firing you. But anyone would know he's saying, I don't. And then he gave her another couple days to get her shit together. She didn't leave the house. She was still there. And after she alleged he slapped and choked her, she got him a birthday gift.
Got him a birthday gift?
Yeah, and said, well, we had a relationship for 4.5 years. It was very complicated, and like she got him a birthday gift after she alleged he did all these things to her. So it seemed to me like that it was getting too messy, and I think the chef was catching on to who he was sleeping with. Yep. And he didn't like that, and he didn't want her down in Miami with his baby mama to be, and his other side chick allegedly. I don't know if he's actually sleeping with the assistant, but that's what she was alleging. Okay. And so she wanted more money. Like, I want to be paid for these weeks or whatever. Turns out his accountant came on the stand and actually said after her request for more money, she was, I dig deeper. And she was submitting the same receipt multiple times for groceries. And they actually overpaid her $2,500. Oh, no. So she was like, by looking, I actually overpaid her. And then when she got fired, Steph gave her that we could pay for that week and then gave her $2,000 in cash. She's making $2,000 a week to be his personal chef. Yeah. So, I mean, not to say he's a good guy, but he did try to make her whole. Like, here's $2,000 in cash. Here's the week I said I don't need you. And she goes, well, I get paid for the season. I was supposed to be here all season. And they're like, well, you're not gonna get paid. You didn't work. Right. Like, so and then to see that you basically committed fraud by submitting the thing to the bookkeeper, and she's like, well, actually, we overpaid you. She was more than whole, and now you're saying that he hit you or whatever, and the next day there was a picture of her in someone's car on dash cam, and there was no marks on her face. Like the day after.
And so she didn't go to the police until like 2 weeks later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, right off the bat, so I'll tell you what happens in a district court case, because as we've talked about before, I would say,
I'm going to see you. Sorry.
65, God bless you. Thank you. 65, maybe 70% of cases in district court, he said, she said. Right. And it's very, like, we have to talk about the reality of the court system versus like what we like theoretically want. And number one, when a victim reports later, and not immediately, there's always going to be an added like sort of like she didn't report to police until 2 weeks later, because there is more of an inherent reliability in somebody's story when they go right to the police. Like if she went right to the police station, was like, he just strangled me and slapped me, you probably have a different kind of case. Even if she was unreliable in other ways, you'd be like, yeah, but it's like when you just, most people don't do that if they're usually something actually happened, even if it's not exactly as someone says, if they go like instantly to the police station, right? Like that sort of reflects like this sort of innate reaction. When you go 2 weeks later, it doesn't mean that that didn't happen, right? But it just means that everybody looking at the story is like, why'd you wait 2 weeks? And like, what were you thinking between point A and point B that like, and what happened in those weeks? So like already a witness getting on the stand, a victim getting on the stand is going to be, their credibility is going to be reduced just because of that. And then you have to try to overcome that. And so what it sounds like, and like from what I saw of her on the stand, is she was not a reliable witness. She didn't come off well. She didn't, you know, she didn't seem as credible as you would want in that kind of case. The problem is that a couple things can happen at the same time. There are often very unreliable witnesses who actually are victims. Right. And so that's sort of the balance in the DA's office as a prosecutor, as somebody, you know, worked in the DA's office for a long time. It's hard to, you know, people say like they should evaluate and they should make the decision that she's not credible. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. That's why a lot of these cases do go to a jury.
But doesn't it seem like a waste of money and time in the sense
but what if he hit her?
I get that, right? But what the prosecutor even said in his closing argument, yeah, she seems like unreliable. She seems like this. Like he did play to the fact that she wasn't a good witness. Yeah. Which I thought was, I guess, at least some type of like admittance of like, okay, yeah, she really didn't come out here and wow you guys. But I'm just saying, like, it's like you've said before, it's about what you can prove, right?
Yeah, but yes, but there is a different kind of evaluation between, you know, well, one, this kind of case in district court, like there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these in each district court. They're never, I mean, realistically, when I was DA in district court, I had like 300 cases. Yeah. I had probably 6 or 7 cases scheduled for trial every day. Yeah. And half of those people I never spoke to until the day of. Like, you literally don't have the time. Okay. Like, I'm talking to a victim for the first time in the hallway. Oh, literally. Yeah. Like, an advocate might talk to them because you just literally do not have the physical capacity to prep all, like witnesses in district court, like these witnesses are barely getting prepped. If you're on a trial in district court, unless it's a really serious district court trial, you're not getting prepped. You're just like, I have the police report as the DA. I go now, and so then I go through like, well, should we treat him differently because he's Stefon Diggs than we do everybody else? Probably not, right? Like, are we going to give him preferential treatment? Because, so I had this case, my most serious case in district court, it was a stabbing, and the victim, she got into a fight with this other woman, and the defendant, and I believed this is what happened, took out a knife and literally like cut her all the way open, like her organs were coming out, right? When I tell you, this girl was a horrible witness on the stand. She was horrible. And there was a really good attorney, Mike Doolin, who's a judge in, he's a Raj in Norfolk Superior Court now. And the defendant was all cleaned up, looked like a perfect, looked great, got on the stand, whatever. And I really, truly believed like that this woman stabbed the victim.
You saw her.
Well, right, but but it was a he said she. It was a she said she said.
Like
right?
Someone stabbed her. You just don't know who.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I believed it was, I believed the victim. I believed her. But she, she was somebody who she had, didn't have much of an education. She was, poor. She had her own criminal record history. Like, she wasn't. And so in district court, often, I'm not saying that's the case in the Diggs case, but the reality of the court system is that, like at a district court level, if the prosecutors if we collectively don't care, if we say like, oh, that's a shitty victim, you know how many DV cases would not get prosecuted and those are real victims?
Yeah.
Because like you're in that world and you're in that cycle. Right. So like, should we treat Stefon Diggs any differently because she's a shitty witness? Yeah. And like, you know what I mean? So
what
for
happened with that case? Did it get dismissed?
Oh no, we went to trial. Yeah. It was not guilty. And I'm sure it was because of how she came off so defensive and like she was super combative, and she wasn't even with me questioning her. She just was not likable. She's not a likable witness at all.
The girl was like the judge had to talk to her and say, if you like go out of line again and say something that wasn't asked of you, your whole thing will be stricken. She literally turned to her and gave her a talking to because she was making comments on the side and saying things, and she's like, that's not the question that was asked. Like, you know, so the judge had to talk to her.
Yes. Yeah. And so I just am like, you know, I feel like I always, you know, but I think sometimes I feel like this point of view has to be talked about because nobody ever comes from this perspective. It's just like, fuck Norfolk County. Why are they doing this? And it's like, I don't know. It's really hard, I think, as a prosecutor to be like, who am I to say that what this woman is saying, you know what I mean? In any case, who am I to say that? And so that's why it's easy to say, like, you know what? I believe you. You're sitting here in front of me and say, like, this happened to you and this person did this to you. So we're going to present that case. The other side's going to present that case. And let 6 people on a jury decide. You know what I mean? And I think that's the fairest outcome. Unless there's obvious, like, if you know that a witness or a victim is being untruthful, that's different. Yeah. Right? If you're looking at it and you're like, there's no way this could have happened, like this person's being untruthful.
It could have happened.
Right. So that's what the DA's office does. Do you want a DA who's okay, so I know we're going to talk about it next, but like a little bit of I thought was a comparison in the Wade Wilson documentary on Netflix, because in the Wade Wilson documentary, when there was a initial woman, I forget her name was Kelly or Carrie, or maybe not either of those, and she was the one who was in the car. She was dating him, but he basically kidnapped her in the car, cut her bra, cut her the back of her shirt, you know, held her down, raped her, you know, she had visible injuries all over her. She drove home. Then she goes, and the detective didn't believe her.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, like, for me, it's like, do we want one detective or one prosecutor making the decision that this person is not credible? Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, so whether we... I think there is a fundamental misunderstanding of like how the system works. It's like, in the most, you know, ideal world, could the DA's office have clarity about like this victim's telling the truth and this victim's not? But you don't. And I'm not going to be the one who's like, I don't believe you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So even if the prosecutor didn't believe her, he's not going to be like, I can't make that decision.
Well, if he can't show that like she's not telling the truth. Yeah. If he's like, I don't, you know, I think the best way is to go before a jury.
The trial was a day and a half. Yeah. And they came back in 90 minutes.
Yes. And that's the thing, too. Most district court trials literally take a couple of hours. They're like usually a police officer and a you know, civilian victim witness. And that's it. And they take, you know, that quick deliberating. So, like, in a busy district court, you'll see 2 or 3 of those every day. Yeah. Every single day.
So do they have the same jury that sees all? No. It's just one jury per thing?
One jury per thing. So like in Dorchester, where I was the DA, you'd have like maybe 30, 35 jurors come in for jury duty that day. And then you'd have this trial session. They'd have literally 30 cases scheduled for trial. And then you decide like, okay, what's the priority? Is a defendant in custody? Is it a victim case? You know, there's like a list of who gets to go with the jury pool first. So then the first trial goes, those lawyers pick a jury, and then whoever's left, the next case on the list goes. And so they try to usually get like between like 1 and 3 juries a day, depending how big the court is and how many sessions.
With Steph, I think it was only 6 people on the jury. It wasn't 12.
Yes, there's 6. No, it's 6 in district court, 12 in superior court.
Okay, yeah.
So in district court, you'll only have 6 deliberating juries. Usually you'll pick 7 or 8. But those are the alternates.
Yeah.
So
I didn't realize that. That was 12.
Yeah. But she came off. I mean, I think that's the right verdict. Yeah. Because no one. Yeah. She doesn't come off as credible. Yeah. So it's like, I think
she came off so unlikable and so discreditable that I mean, Steph didn't have to talk. I mean,
Right.
they didn't even put him on.
Right.
But in that, normally, would they not put them on?
100%. Like almost never does a defendant testify because the standard is very high. And so if you have a victim that's on the stand and you can just attack them through cross-examination, then you just get to argue to the jury.
Yeah.
How can you basically say to a jury, how can you possibly know?
Yeah.
How can you possibly make a decision without anything else that like gives credibility to one side? You know what I mean? And he said, she said, what do you usually do? You usually look at who the people are, whether they're individually credible or not, whether what they say is credible, you know, what they say, what happened is credible. And then what's the other evidence? Like if she came off really well and she had gone to police that night, he might have been found guilty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you'd go as a jury, you go like, she comes off as a professional. She doesn't seem vindictive. She doesn't this and that. And she went to the police right away.
It seemed very vindictive.
Right.
It just seemed like, I'm pissed.
Being a juror is often very common sense.
Yeah.
It's like there's all the distraction of the law, but
this specifically, it was like she clearly had been with him through many girlfriend. I think she was like the main side bitch, and I think.
Oh, interesting.
And I think she felt like I'll
She was
never
losing her
publicly
spot.
be his girl.
Yeah.
Like, but I'll always be. She felt some type of hierarchy, and it was okay to be the side bitch again to Cardi B.
Right.
But that's where.
Right.
Cause, but then you're also a weirdo ass bitch trying to befriend the girl that you're sleeping with her man.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Like the whole thing is weird. I think she's a little weirdo.
Yeah.
And I think the whole thing, and I think like the pedestal we put athletes on is also an issue.
Yes.
And then it's like whether it's Cardi B or this chef with a BBL or his assistant or whoever she was accusing him of sleeping with, it's like there is this type of he gets away with shit because he has money and he's attractive and he's an athlete.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with being in basically an open relationship, then like that's is what it is.
Right.
Like you know what I mean?
Right.
So you were okay with being a side bitch for so long.
Yeah.
Like I'm almost like you were so complacent and now you want to be vindictive and now you want to make it that now you're going to like be like again he could have hit her but we don't know.
Right.
We don't know.
Right.
And even the text messages were very vague and then your behavior after getting I mean there's plenty of victims that get hit and will give their but it just doesn't look good for you girl that you're doing all this when you and then you're making it like I was fucking Cardi B's man instead of you know what I mean so I think ultimately that's, you know, the jury. I feel like for the most part, it's not that, you know, I think the jury system is not perfect. And do I think they always get it right? No.
But,
I mean,
but do I think it's like, you know, that's how I look at the sort of world we live in. It's like not to go too, you know, big picture, but, you know, a jury system in a democracy like America is the fairest that we've created so far in like the history of humanity. So I think sometimes we forget that people often want perfection and it's like it's not perfect. We can't know. In these kinds of cases, we can't know. The best way to do it is be like you put your case in front of a bunch of random people. You put your case and let those random people decide. They don't have the prosecutor's bias. They don't have the defense attorney's bias. They just hear the perspective of both. And it's like it's not perfect, but I think that's it's probably the fairest way to evaluate. Like put it to a bunch of random people and see how it goes.
So speaking of other cases, you mentioned the Wade Wilson thing.
Oh, yes.
Okay.